everybody, welcome to part 2. We are actually in the middle of installing rear brake disc upgrade on our M40i. I actually, in the background, I had it done. I just want to I gotta move fast today, so I just want to do one side, just get the idea what it takes, and get back to you on this full install and what comes in the kit and whatnot. So what we're looking at is the F90 M5 rear disc. They are directional, so each left and right side are going to have separate part numbers. It's going to be in the video and the pictures as well. I got two calipers. There's going to be GT4 caliper as well as the Tesla caliper for your parking brake. They're going to be separate calipers, as well as the two separate brackets. One's going to be a full bracket for the electric parking brake. The other one's going to be direct. It's going to be a bracket for this GT4, which is, you know, just dedicated for one caliper itself. GT4 is going to go in a factory caliper location. It's going to be in a I think it's called leading position. So this is the kit. All in all, the process is very I'd say it's probably just very easy to we're going to pull the wheel off. Here's the side that I just completed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the wheel off, and we will take the dust shield, the brake disc. We're gonna take the caliper and just let it hang out the way for now, and then we're gonna install the new the brackets with the supply bolts, and we are going to throw in the rotor, the disc. These bolt holes, they do not line up just because the M5 hub is different, but it doesn't matter. The disc is going to be held by the caliper as well as by the hub lip, so it's nothing to worry about. All else is just fairly straightforward. We're going to use the factory holes for this bracket. These brackets have recessed bolt holes just to make sure all the bolt heads are flush with the surface. This is the bracket for the caliper for the GT4, and at this point, this has actually been the hardest brake kit that we put together, because it took 3 revisions, and I still need to do one minor adjustment for it, but it's ready to go now. The total piston area is just right over the factory caliper, so we're gonna probably see just a few percent brake bias shift towards the rear, which usually is a good thing for most. All in all, everything is gonna retain the factory parking brake option. Here's my fronts. They're still doing super well, and we got the factory red color going on, and here's the front, here is the rear, all matching, looking good. So let me start another side. I'm gonna take the wheel off, and I'm gonna be back with you. I'm gonna guide you through the steps, what it takes to get the rear kit installed. Alright everybody, so we got the wheel off out of the way. Now what we're gonna do is gonna remove a few things out of the way. So the first thing is gonna be this caliper. It's gonna have a couple E-Torx bolts, one right there and the other one right below it, right there. There's 2 in the picture, 1, 2. Okay, then we're gonna unplug this parking brake. It's pretty much at the very top of the connector. There is a tab, and you remove it from this bracket. Also, there's another slot. You just slide it out, and it's going to be held by a couple of the retaining plastic pieces. We're just gonna use a clip tool and just knock it out of the way. Just let it hang out of the way. So now we're gonna remove the caliper, like I mentioned before. I got those wheel spacers. This is gonna go to the side. I'm gonna remove this Allen bolt right here that keeps the disc on, and once the disc is off the hub, I will get back to you. All the parts out of the way. I got the caliper sitting out there on the foam block. I got the disc out of the way, so now we got to remove this dust shield. Yep, that battery is shot. Well then, yeah, so I do recommend loosening these bolts by just using by hand, by using the wrench, and then you can use electric wrench. I'm gonna go get another battery, but this is, you got the idea. We're gonna remove this dust shield back. There she goes. And there's one more. And this is it. So now this is what we're gonna be looking at. Is we're gonna need this. Gonna need these 3 bolts for our electric parking brake bracket, and these 2 bolts is where your 4-piston bracket is gonna mount. So I'm gonna go grab the brackets and the bolts, and I'll be back once I'm ready to install them. All right, I got all the brackets in position. This is the 4-piston caliper bracket, and this is the electric parking brake caliper bracket. So at this point, I am ready to slap the disc on. What I'm gonna do before I proceed is I'm going to weight those discs. I wanna see the weight difference with the factory disc as well as the M5. So give me just a sec, I'll do that. Position in place. This caliper is gonna go on respectively on top of this bracket. So I'm just gonna slap on this right there. I'm gonna need my other hand to actually be able to tighten the bolts. I'll be right back. We'll be installing this parking brake caliper. So this adapter that's gonna make a factory motor work on with this caliper is gonna bolt up to the back, those 2 bolt holes, and it bolts up to the back of the actual caliper. Please don't drop. Okay, by these bolts you will see the 10 right here and a couple Allens. It can only go on one way, and then it's gonna bolt up to this, see this ears here from the back. And let me throw this on and make sure everything is good. I'm just gonna, gonna get a finger tight for now, and then I will be back with all the wiring for it. Okay, so the caliper is in place. There was a couple of those Allen bolts towards the back, and next is what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this wire to it, and I am also going to loosen the stock motor. Right here there's going to be 2 bolts. Okay, one right here and one right here. And loosen this bracket is going to come off. It's going to stay on this brake hose, and we're just going to gently wiggle this motor out of the way and transfer it to the new caliper. So let me get this going, and I will be back with you with the motor, and I'll show you. Take a note, there is this a rubber seal on top of the factory motor, the inside that seals the plastic actuator to the mechanical, I guess the gears inside. So we're gonna transfer this O-ring onto the edge of this adapter. I'm just gonna go right there. Okay, so let me get this O-ring swapped out, and I'll be back and I'll show you how to install the motor. Okay, so here's the factory motor. It's gonna bolt up directly to the back of this adapter, and we are going to reuse this factory motor bolts, and we will tighten this motor to the actuator. Otherwise, yes, the plug is going to go right here. Let me get these 2 bolts tight, and after that I will be running the wire to it, and we're coming up on this install. I think it is pretty massive upgrade. So let me get back to it. So we got this motor in position, which was 2 bolts. I was unable to pull up torque values for this, so I just got them snug. I did not. The plastic body of it is actually fairly brittle, so I didn't overdo it. So what we got right here is this wire that goes to the actual, the parking brake motor. So we got it loosened from here as well as from the bracket on the caliper. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to loosen this mounting right there. Just use it. I'm using a trim tool
to get it unsnapped. It kind of comes up. I'll show you how it works once I get it off of there. Okay, that's it. And there's one more in the back right there as well. So, just simply pry it away. It pops right off. Okay, so now that's what we're going to be looking at right here, which are probably going to end up disconnecting here again. Thing is very accessible. So, and we're going to run it over this wire right there because it's this wire. I think it's actually a speed sensor, the wheel speed sensor. So we're going to throw this over. I'm going to need two hands as usual. And throw this over, and we're going to route this wire, and we are coming up on the braided line. I did the other side is, I got everything, like I say, rerouted. So I did the other side is, I'm going to simply remove the speed sensor from the factory bracket, and I will slap this speed sensor there. Okay, make sure everything's good. Then I will zip tie these two together. I will remove the wire from this bracket there, and I'm gonna push the wire in some to just pick up some of that slack. And I'll show you the end result, but this is where we're gonna be at with this. I am going to, yes, this just a little more. Okay, and I'm gonna zip tie these two together just to keep this speed sensor in place close to the position where it's supposed to be. And like I say, I'm gonna play with this just a little bit, get it out of the way, move the wire. At this point, I am ready to hook up this braided line to the factory hard line. It comes at 45-degree angle. Oh yeah, I was gonna also update. Hold on, let me get the line out of the way. Okay, so I didn't get as much slack right here as I did on the other side for the line, because there is a headlight leveling sensor box, right, and there is a plug to it, so I couldn't. There isn't much slack in there. But what I got is, I got this going on. I got two, the factory wheel sensor zip tied to the stock parking brake actuator. I got the wire laying out of the way, so it's not interfering with anything. And this is it. I'm gonna let it hang on top of the control arm. I might throw a zip tie loosely over the control arm just to prevent it from moving around. But this is, I'm fairly happy with it as is. So that's what we'll be looking at this point. We're gonna loosen the factory rubber hose, and we're gonna use 11mm, which is 7/16, and we're gonna connect this to it, and we're gonna get them pretty tight. And this setup, it pretty much concludes the procedure. We're gonna bleed the hydraulic caliper, and we should be ready to bed the pads in. Key thing is, with every brake job, is not to spill brake fluid on your calipers, on your car, preferably not on the suspension parts. And if you do, I usually have this spray detailer. It's generic detailer from Walmart. I got it handy just in case something spilled. You just rinse it off, or you can use water for that matter with the same purpose. But let me get this caliper out of the way. Yeah, so I got the brake line connected there. I would double check the connection once I drive the car for a little bit. Make sure it's dry, make sure there's nothing, nothing is leaking there. And also I would check the connection back there at the caliper as well. That's about 2 points it could leak at. It also can leak at the bleeders, but it shouldn't. I would triple check everything. And so let me get the caliper out of the way, and I'm gonna show you a small homemade bracket I'm gonna make for these brake lines. Make sure they don't rub on anything, and we will be ready to bleed. We're coming up on the bleeding part, but I was gonna show you there's a factory hole in this control arm right there, lower control arm, and you will see I just got a generic brake line, you know, mounting kit. So I pretty much bend it 90 degrees and install it right here. It is loose, so it moves up and down fairly easily if it needs to. And you can bend it however you need it to. It's fairly, you know, it's fairly easy to bend. And this is it. Everything looking good and sharp. I am about to start bleeding, and this is the idea. So long story short, what I got here is the F90 M5 rear brakes with a 4-piston caliper, and as well as the separate electric brake, you know, parking brake caliper. It just takes very minor rewiring. It's not even, you don't have to splice or cut anything. Everything is a direct fit. I mean, I'm super happy with it. I'm gonna see how she drives. I'm gonna bed the pads in properly, but you see everything mounted up and bolts right up, and everything should look good. The pad positioning on the disc is also perfect. I think we're in a good shape overall. Like I said, I'm gonna get it bled, and I will take the car for a spin. I'm gonna drive it for about 20 minutes, just see how she does and make sure the pads get proper pad transfer onto the rotor, and we will be done with this thing. I'm about to go for a test drive. Everything is looking Gucci. Check for leaks. Yeah, boy. Sum it up, installation on the passenger side. Passenger side is just a touch more trickier because of the brake pad sensor, and all else should be identical. So we got this electric parking brake here. We got this motor bolted up with the adapter to the back of it, just so you can see. This is the wire to the connector to the parking brake, you know, the actuator. It was mounted back behind this junction box, but I disconnected it and I pretty much snapped it into the factory line. I used a couple of zip lines for the I would imagine it's a wheel speed sensor to go back there. So I got it tied up right there. All else is super straightforward. So here's the brake line that goes to the back of the caliper, and I got the generic mounting kit, and there's a provision hole in the brace. It does move freely right here, so it should be no binding, no issues on the compressed suspension. All else is I'm gonna probably find a zip tie and tie this the pad sensor out the way somewhere, but everything else is I'm ready to bleed the brakes. These are massive compared to stock. Got embossed logo on a black caliper. So all in all, this kit is fairly simple to install. It's just my first time, so I'm getting it done. This is the third revision. This one is actually one of the most challenging kits we've done so far. But all in all, I have one more correction to do, which is negligible given the full picture. It's going to be minimal, and all other, you know, setups that I can build, they're going to be all ready to install. So yeah, so this is pretty major. This is the F90 M5 rear brake rotor. The kit is fairly complex. That comes with adapters and calipers and pads and just a bunch of stuff. Fairly, you know, like I mentioned before, fairly easy to install overall if you have common sense and skills and tools. So here it is. This goes on this M40i X3 GL1. That's it. Sum it up, this side is done, and you've seen me from part 1 on this M5 brakes in the front. Here's the rear setup. I like the idea of the secondary caliper to be subtle, that you do not see it much unless you look. It's there. And this here, yes. The brakes are massive. You pick up a couple, I think 2.3 pounds from each rotor in the rear. You get much larger pad area. What you're gonna get is the much more massive 4-piston monoblock caliper right there. And one thing I need to change, I need to move that brake line way back there. I need to move it back because it might touch the wheel eventually, so it's not gonna be no bueno. But all else, yes, this is it. I think it looks pretty sharp. I love it. Yeah, I love how it looks. Okay, I'm gonna jump on the other side, which I'm gonna be much more detailed with my install. And then eventually, once we bleed everything, I'm gonna jump on the road and drive it for 20-30 minutes. Just to bed the pads in and see how everything works and acts all together. But yeah, we should be good to go now.